Hello everybody, welcome to the Generic Cappy YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. I am Amar, otherwise known as Generic Cappy, and in less than 24 hours, the 2023 Game Awards will be airing all across the world. And so I figured today I would just, make a small little video, or a short little video talking about my thoughts on it, what I think is going to be shown, some of the awards, some of the award nominations, some of the board's nominations I voted for, and yeah, we also have a Pokemon trailer that is airing in less than 12 hours. So busy days ahead for video games, but I think it's very exciting. Normally, the Game Awards is a pretty cool culminating point to celebrate the year in games, and then look forward to what the next year and the coming years after that look like. And then normally we don't get a Pokemon trailer on the same day, but we're getting that this year, so that's very exciting. But yeah, if you all enjoyed this video, please, like it, put a like on it, comment down below your thoughts on the Game Awards, and, maybe share it. But, yeah, let us get into my thoughts on, the Game Awards, what I think they'll show, some of the award nominations. I'm already posted my award, the categories I voted in, and then the nominee I voted for. The ones I did post on social media were just the ones that I posted the categories that I had played more than one game in, because otherwise there wasn't really much thought that went into my, the way I voted. But yeah, let us get right into it. So yeah, Game Awards. So I'm just going to do a quick rundown over just the categories I voted in, and then how I voted in those categories. So I'll go from the probably least exciting, not least exciting, but the they're all exciting. So I'll just go from the Game of the Year, and then go down. So for Game of the Year, I voted for The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. For me, it was between Super Mario Bros. Wonder and The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. I did go with Tears of the Kingdom just because, well, I might have had a little more fun with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, just because I think it was just it was very new to the Super Mario Bros. Not new Super Mario Bros. But the Super Mario Bros. Series, and I had more fun with it. But I do consider Tears of the Kingdom the game of the Nintendo Switch generation, and so it was I did switch a little bit between my voting, but now that it is past 9 o'clock on 9 p.m. EST, before the awards air, voting is closed, so I have my vote locked in, and the vote I did make was for the Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. However, going off those same points that I said about Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I did vote for Super Mario Bros. Wonder in both Best Game Direction, just because I think, while Tears of the Kingdom itself did have a lot of differences put into it, from Breath of the Wild, it still was somewhat the same game compared to Super Mario Bros. Wonder. It was pretty much a reimagining of 2D Mario, and I think that was. And then there was also those interviews that came out that they didn't really have a time limit, and they're continuously just putting more and more thoughts. Or more ideas into the game. Some of their thoughts, that emerged. They all emerged into the game, and I think that's pretty cool. And I think that speaks a lot to the game direction of it. So I did vote for that for game and direction. I also voted for art direction. This one was a little more competitive to me. Obviously I split Game of the Year and Best Game Direction just between Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Best art direction, it was a little difficult for me, just because for me, I played just a couple of these games. I didn't play all of them, so the art direction for I played Hi-Fi Rush, I played Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and I played The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Well, I didn't play fully through Hi-Fi Rush, but I watched a lot more of that game than I played of it. But I do like generally what Hi-Fi Rush looked like. So for me, it was just between Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom, and Hi-Fi Rush, and I just pretty much went with personal preference. Maybe there was some recency bias in that because Super Mario Bros. Wonder was the latest release of those three, but I just decided, what, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, I don't think it'll win. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is probably going to win in Best Game Direction and Game of the Year. And I do think probably Hi-Fi Rush will win Best Art Direction, but, still pretty cool. No biggie. My vote really wouldn't make a difference here, just because in a lot of ways I believe the jury votes are a lot more weighed, and I do think the jury has a lot more knowledge on a lot of these games, so I think that's pretty trustworthy. For Best Narrative, I did vote for Spider-Man 2. Again, I didn't play a lot of these games in Best Narrative, so it wasn't that hard for me to pick. I just went with the game that I played personally, the most of, and that was Marvel's Spider-Man 2. I do plan to play more of these games eventually, just not right now, just because, just a lot of games that came out this year, a lot of games I want to play, so, but I will get to at least Baldur's Gate 3, and I believe, and I hope to get to Alan Wake 2 at some point in the near future, which is very exciting. And then for the next couple ones, I'm just going to go through and speed through them. For Best Score Music, I voted for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For Best Audio Design, I voted for Alan Wake 2. From what I've seen, that had the best audio design. I haven't played it yet, so that was really just a pick in the dark for me, but I just went with it. I thought it would be pretty cool. For Games for Impact, I voted for Vemba, which was a very cool game. I haven't played much of it yet, but I do want to play more of it. And again, I haven't played a lot of those games in the Games for Impact category, so I didn't really know which ones to vote for besides Vemba. But I'm sure all of them are great. I'm sure every single game that was nominated is great. And yeah, so I just pretty much went with the one that I was most knowledgeable, I guess, with. For Best Independent Game, I voted for Sea of Stars. For Best Debut Indie Game, I voted for Cocoon, because I think Cocoon is pretty cool. I haven't played much of it again. I haven't played most of a lot of these games, but and a lot of, I haven't played a lot of them in the sense that, I put a lot of hours into a lot of them. But I do think Cocoon may win. There was some good nominees in this category. I know Dredge, I think it's called Dredge, was nominated. Or it was on a lot of people's Best Games of the Year category. I mean, Best Game of the Year lists. So maybe that will win, but who knows? And then for Best Action Game, I voted for Hi-Fi Rush. Best Action Adventure Game, I voted for The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Best RPG, Sea of Stars. Best Family Game was Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Best Sim and Strategy was Pikmin 4. Best Multiplayer was Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Best Adaptation was the new Super Mario Bros. Movie. And then most anticipated game was Hades 2. Because overall, out of those 5 games, I believe, Hades 2 was my most anticipated. Even though I think Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, right? I think that was called. Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth will probably win that one. Just because I think it's the most, it has the biggest fan base out of all those games. And I do think it's probably the most exciting, just based on what we know about the game so far. Based off remake and, the trailers we've seen for Rebirth. Probably the most exciting at this point. But yeah, so those were the most of the categories I voted in. Obviously, again, I just skipped over a couple just because I didn't really know many of the games in those, or more than one game. I hadn't really played more than one game, or for Best VR AR, I didn't play any of the games, so I didn't, there wasn't really a game for me to necessarily choose there. And so I just went with the categories that I had played at least 2 games in, and that was a good amount of them anyways, but still pretty cool. Or just a game that I really had a lot of confidence in, or a lot of I liked it a lot, so I voted for that. That was mainly the case for the independent categories and best action game, stuff like that. But for the Game Awards, the awards are as important, or it's more important, but they do also have a lot of announcements and gameplay videos, and They did get away with the world premiere cards, so I'm not sure if they're going to be calling them world premieres this year, but they do get a lot of trailers for the Game Awards, and a lot of them are pretty big. And so I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Just talk about my predictions of what we'll see at the Game Awards. And just pretty much discuss it a little bit, I guess. Because it's pretty exciting. I mean, this will be the last major event of the year, supposedly. Maybe a company will have a showcase of their own by in the next week or two, but who knows. Usually this is the biggest. This is like the point where everything pretty much culminates into one award show with announcements for the next couple of years. So let me talk about just some of my predictions for that, and okay, so the first discussion point will just be on the three main console manufacturers. Microsoft has already confirmed that they will be at the Game Awards with announcements and gameplay. I'm assuming gameplay of some of their games. Some games are probably going to Game Pass. They'll probably be a part of other games. In general, probably the big three, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft, will all have games that come to their console during the Game Awards at some point. We'll probably see games from most of the developers that will go to all three consoles. And so, they all will be involved in the show in some way anyways. But I do think Microsoft themselves will have a presence at the show in terms of, announcements. There's been a lot of rumors out there. I'm not as familiar with Xbox games, so it is a little bit difficult for me to predict exactly what the Xbox or Microsoft would bring to the Games Awards. But obviously, Hellblade 2 is one of them. Again, a bunch of games that are going to Game Pass is another one. Maybe some Activision Blizzard games that they got after the merger, stuff like that. So, there is rumors that they have a pretty large presence at this year's Game Awards, in terms of the announcements and stuff that they brought, which is kind of exciting in a lot of ways. So I'm looking forward to that. Just like I'm looking forward to pretty much every single announcement that is coming from the Game Awards, just because it's always cool just to see what's next in gaming. So the other console manufacturer, there's two, but I'll save Nintendo for last because obviously this channel is puts a lot of focus on Nintendo itself. Is Sony, PlayStation. I do think they will be here to some extent. I think they'll be here no matter what in terms of another trailer for Death Stranding 2, just because that's a Kojima game. Kojima is usually at the Game Awards in some way, so I believe it'd be a pretty cool announcement, or it's not a given, but it is pretty much out of anything that Sony could bring, is pretty much the most likely of which would be Death Stranding 2 again, which is very cool in itself. And then I believe, Sony could bring Spider-Man 2 DLC. They could bring God of War Ragnarok DLC. They could bring, any assortment of things. They could bring a new game. I'm a little less, I'm a little hesitant to say that they would bring a new game, just because I think, I don't know. They didn't really announce any new single player games this year, like new single player games. So this could be an avenue for them to announce it, and I think it would get it to a pretty large audience. So I'm not putting the idea of them announcing a new game out of the realm of possibility. It honestly might be higher than 50% that they do announce one, but I guess it just depends. If they do announce a new game, I think it would probably be Ghost of Tsushima 2, just because we haven't really heard a lot about what Sucker Punch is doing these days, or like right now. I think most people are assuming they are working on Ghost of Tsushima 2, which is very exciting to hear. I just got the first Ghost of Tsushima, so I plan to start that very soon, which is very exciting for me. But yeah, we could see maybe Wolverine gameplay. Maybe they will mention Wolverine if there is Spider-Man 2 DLC at this year's Game Awards. But if I had to put like any like predictions out there for what PlayStation would show, I think it would be Death Stranding 2. I think it will be God of War Ragnarok DLC, because that's been rumored for a little while. And then I think they'll have something a little smaller. Something maybe that they're publishing instead of exactly like one of their first party games. But I still think that's pretty cool. I think they are publishing Death Stranding 2, but something else outside Death Stranding 2. I think it'd be like maybe a little smaller game that has their support behind it. I think that would be a pretty cool announcement from their end that they could bring to the Game Awards. And it will help bolster the PlayStation lineup for next year, which is pretty cool. And then obviously they do have like speaking of that, they do have a couple of other games that they are either publishing or they have the marketing rights to that will more than likely also be at this year's Game Awards. So I think Sony will definitely have a presence at the Game Awards. I think Microsoft will have it, definitely. They've already confirmed that they will have a presence at this year's Game Awards. Really the only big one that we don't necessarily know is Nintendo, and I think Nintendo will have a presence at this year's Game Awards as well. They usually have some sort of presence at every single Game Awards. It's usually a smaller one. Well, I guess it depends on what you believe is a smaller presence over a larger one. I think the Smash characters are pretty big to announce at the Game Awards, but they've also announced a couple of games. They announced Bayonetta 1 and 2, and is coming to Nintendo Switch, as well as Bayonetta 3. They showed off Breath of the Wild gameplay at a couple of the Game Awards. They announced Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is a game that they're publishing. Again, they announced a couple of Smash characters. They announced Fire Emblem Engage DLC. Again, they announced another game that they're publishing in Bayonetta 3. Not Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta Origins. And, Bravely Default 2. So they have used this platform to usually announce the games that they will be publishing. They're coming out, in roughly about a year. About 6 months to about a year and a half. And I think that will likely also be what we see tomorrow. But I do think Nintendo will have some first party presence as well. I don't know if they'll announce a new game. I know that's been highly speculated. Maybe they'll announce like a new remaster or a new remake. I do think I think the most likely will be some sort of announcement of a first party something of a game they've already announced or already released. The rumor out there right now is that Nintendo has a new trailer and demo ready for another Code recollection. That could be at this year's Game Awards. I'm a little skeptical on that being what Nintendo shows off tomorrow. It by no means would be like surprising or anything. And I think that, that would be a pretty good thing for Nintendo to show at the Game Awards to get more marketing for the game and just get more eyes on the game itself. But it is a remake, and so I don't really know what they would show off in the trailer that would be like too surprising. But then again, Nintendo doesn't really need to show off anything like too surprising for the game. They just really need to market the game, show the game off to a larger audience. And I think that could be what the Game Awards is. And then they release a demo like right after that people that are watching the Game Awards can either download in the moment or they can download after the award show. I think that is a pretty good, pretty good cycle of sorts for them to, start the marketing cycle for this game. It is coming out in about a month and a half, so I guess they really do need to start the marketing for the game, full of marketing. But they could, I could also see them just releasing the trailer on like Friday with the demo, but I guess we'll see about that. But I do think that's like what Nintendo's presence will be. Some sort of trailer for a game that they've already announced. It's either another Code it was really either between another Code and Princess Peach Showtime that I believe they could bring to the Game Awards for like games that they've already announced for like a new trailer. I think Princess Peach still has a chance to show up, but I don't think they'll show off both of them. But so Princess Peach or another Code, some trailer for a game they've already announced, or maybe a DLC announcement for a game that's already released, like Super Mario Bros. Wonder or Pikmin 4. And then I think they will announce that they're publishing a third-party game of some sort. Maybe Ultimate Alliance 4, Marvel's Ultimate Alliance 4 will be announced. I'm not sure if I mentioned for the PlayStation, Wolverine could be shown. Marvel Ultimate Alliance kind of reminded me of that. Wolverine could be shown, not shown, but at least talked about. Maybe shown when they're talking about the DLC Spider-Man. I think that'd be kind of cool, but again, no guarantees on that end. Maybe they'll just mention like a year for Wolverine 2. They don't really need, I guess, to say anything just yet, but still, Wolverine 2 could be there. I mean, not Wolverine 2, Wolverine, Marvel's Wolverine. But yeah, so, but, this is a Nintendo YouTube channel, or a Nintendo focused YouTube channel, so obviously there is a lot to speculate. I think the most likely of the unlikely things that they could show off is a trailer for Metroid Prime 4. I think they could do something that they did with Bayonetta 2, 3, and then, Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3, where they announced the Metroid 2 and 3 remasters, not remakes. I don't think they're remakes. Maybe they're just going to be ports. But Metroid Prime 2 and 3 remasters will be launching on the Switch either, the day of the Game Awards in less than 12 hours, or they will be, 24 hours, or they will be, launching at some point next year. They could do like a digital release tomorrow, and then, maybe February, March, release the games like physically. And then they have like a trailer for Metroid Prime 4. I think that, again, that is the most likely of the unlikelies that could happen. I don't think we're going to see a new console from Nintendo tomorrow. I guess we could see a port, as I mentioned earlier. We could see the Zelda ports finally. Again, we could see Metroid Prime 2 and 3. Maybe we see F-Zero GX remaster port. That has been rumored for a long time. Maybe the Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War remake. I believe that's the game that's getting remade. I think it's FE4 is getting remade, supposedly. So there is a lot Nintendo could show off tomorrow. I just don't know what that will be. Out of all the companies, I believe Nintendo is the most, in the air about if they'll first of all be there, which I think they will. They usually support the Game Awards in some way. But then again, just like what the announcements would be from Nintendo. There hasn't really been a lot of pre-announcements to what this year's Game Awards will be showing, which is kind of exciting. I know that's made a couple of people worry a little bit about what actually will be at the show, but from what we already know, Microsoft will be there. We know Sega will be there with a game announcement. Most likely, a lot of speculation has been that it's gonna be a fighting game of some sort. Virtua Fighter, a new one or a remake, for example. I think that's been the most likely scenario based on speculation. We do know that Atlas is bringing their newest RPG they'll be releasing next year. I don't really remember the name of it. Let me actually go find that. So, because the game does look really good, so I do want to at least mention it. So let me get the name of it. So the name of it is Metaphor Refantasio. I believe that's how you say it. It might be wrong, but it's this Atlas's newest RPG that they're going to be releasing next year. I don't know if it's confirmed for next year, but their upcoming fantasy RPG, as the Game Awards social media page says. So Atlas will obviously be there. Sega will be there. I believe there's confirmation that a couple of the live service games will have new content that'll be either shown off at the Game Awards or released with the Game Awards. I believe that there is a couple of other studios that have already confirmed their involvement, but again, there isn't a lot to show. Not show, but a lot has already been talked about. But that will be there. And Jeff Keighley himself has said that there's a lot of things that they can't say in advance this year, which is kind of exciting. And we don't even know what Microsoft's stuff will be, so we just know that they'll be there at the Game Awards. So again, it is a lot of speculation on the end of the Game Awards, but normally a lot of the big publishers, big developers are at the Game Awards. So we could get a new game from Capcom. The biggest speculation has been Monster Hunter 6, I believe, or Monster Hunter Worlds 2. Konami could bring something to the Game Awards. We already know Atlas and Sega will be there. Ubisoft maybe could bring something. Maybe EA has like a new a game like similar to I think they are called something. I think it's like EA Hazelight, with like a couple of like the single player games, like the studio, not a studio, but like in the same vein of like the games they published, like It Takes Two, and Unravel 2. I think like we could see one of those games again. But yeah, so there's a lot of speculation out there about what exactly we could see. I'm very excited for the Game Awards. Again, I've been speculating Nintendo will be there. Again, I just want to, because I do like talking about Nintendo, obviously. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be exciting nonetheless just to see what games are shown off at this year's Game Awards. It's supposedly going to be around 3 hours long, which is normally as long as the Game Awards are, but it's looking like it's a very full show this year, with, again, a lot of really cool announcements, and I'm very excited for it. For content related to the Game Awards this year, I do plan to at least record my reaction to the Game Awards, in some way. I don't think I'll be live streaming it just because, while I do believe the Game Awards can be really full, there will probably be some downtime during, at some point during the 3 hours. I think that could be a little weird. So I rather just record my full reaction to it and then cut down, get some of the more exciting announcements or just some of the more exciting reactions that I had and put that all in like a compilation for this year's Game Awards. Something I haven't really done before, so it'd be kind of cool just to do that. And yeah, and then obviously, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, but we do have a new Pokemon trailer in less than 12 hours. I do think they're probably going to show off like some new Pokemon. We're probably going to find out a little bit more about the Indigo Disc DLC. But I also will be having a reaction to that around the time when it airs. It'll probably go up like maybe an hour or two after the trailer airs, which is still very cool. I think that's very exciting. I'm very excited for the Indigo Disc. It is less than, at this point, actually, it is less than a week away. Because the belief is that it will release at 9 p.m. EST next Wednesday, which is very cool. But yeah, that is all I have really for this year's Game Awards video. It was a little more laid back than I usually have for the Game Award videos. Just as a basic summary, I think the 3 main console manufacturers will be there. Obviously, Microsoft has confirmed. I believe Sony will be there with Death Stranding 2 and at least maybe 1 or 2 other announcements. I think Nintendo will be there. It is a little bit up in the air about what exactly they would bring at the Game Awards, but from my point of view, I think they will bring at least a trailer for a game they've already announced, and then maybe some DLC, maybe a game that they're publishing from a third-party studio. Or, they could bring a new port or a new remake, remaster. Maybe Metroid Prime 2 and 3, maybe a Metroid Prime 4 trailer. There's been a lot of rumors about an Ocarina of Time remake. We have a good amount of things that Nintendo could show. I just don't actually know if they will, because again, also with Nintendo, they do usually have a gaming presentation early on in the year. At some point, between January and April, they usually have a Nintendo Direct of some sort. And then if we are getting, a console announcement early next year, again, they could be saving a lot of their big announcements for something like that. Actually, I do want to end this video, or pretty much close this video on this thing I said earlier. Not in this video, but I believe I posted it on one of the social media platforms. That what is it? Oh yes, that they could show off a Metroid Prime 4 trailer, and they could end it on a Nintendo Switch logo, and then the code name for the next Nintendo console, and just say stay tuned to our Nintendo social media platforms for more information about this new Nintendo platform that we will be releasing in the future. And that would be a humongous announcement from Nintendo. So, but that is honestly, I said that the Metroid Prime 4 just being here would be like the most likely out of the most unlikely things. That's like at the bottom. That's near the bottom of the most unlikely things to show up here. But anything could happen in the Game Awards, so I guess we'll see. I didn't expect Joker to be announced at the Game Awards, or really any Smash character to be announced at the Game Awards. So again, anything could happen. But yeah, that is all I have for you all today. I am, again, very excited for this year's Game Awards. I'm actually might be a little more excited than I usually am for the Game Awards. And usually I am very excited for the Game Awards. But, this year does feel a little different. It does feel like we're going to get a lot of, cool things that happen at the Game Awards itself. A lot of cool games that we recognize this year. And then we'll get a lot of cool announcements, which is very nice. This is the 10th year of the Game Awards. So that I think that in itself promises to be like a pretty, a pretty cool Game Awards in general. Maybe a pretty spectacular Game Awards. Might be a better phrasing. But yeah, that is all I have for you all today. So thank you all for watching or listening, really. This is pretty much just a listening format type of video. In the background of this video, I did have early on my actual voting process for the how I voted for the Game Awards. I believe that is exactly how I voted. I might have changed one or two, but that way you could see most of my vote, most of the games I voted for, even if I did not mention them. And then I believe I also probably just have like a little, the thumbnail of this video as the remaining parts. So yeah, that is all I have for you all today. So thank you all for listening to this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure to make you happy, because it rhymes generic happy, and goodbye.